Well, hello there. Good morning. How you feeling today? What's that? You're running okay, but you feel like maybe you're getting a little stopped up. Hmm. Hey, you know what? It's time for your 50-hour service. You'll feel as good as new. All right, well, step into my office and we'll see what we can do about it. Okay, so let's get started on our 50-hour service. So here are some of the things you're going to need. First, you're going to need a tractor, preferably the same kind that I'm showing. Unless, of course, you're just watching an idiot on YouTube for entertainment purposes. Okay, um, so you're going to need some sort of a filter wrench to get this transmission oil filter off. The number for that oil filter is LVA16054. They run around $30 plus or minus a dollar or two. All right, you're going to need at least 3¼ gallons of transmission hydraulic oil, because that's how much capacity it has, 3.25 gallons. I bought 4 gallons worth. I didn't go for the 5-gallon barrel thing because it's just too dang heavy for me to deal with. And I'd have more left over than what I needed. You're going to want a couple of funnels, unless you've got really good aim and you don't mind cleaning up a mess. I've got a torque wrench here because I'm going to take the wheel off, and I like to torque things back to specs, although I do have a calibrated wrist. And I got an extension. This is all optional. Some sort of pair of pliers to get the hose off, which is probably going to be the most difficult part of the whole operation. I've got this thing here, if you excuse it going out of the picture. I've got my pointer here so I can point at the main points of the operation. Now this has got a magnet on it, and I'm going to use that to stick down into the transmission screen area after I pull the screen out. See if it can grab any particles down in there left over that the screen didn't pick up. Optional. Alright, if you're going to take your wheel off, you're going to need a 19mm socket. Optional if you take your wheel off. Non-optional, unless you've got really strong fingers, you're going to need a 13mm to remove the drain plug. To take the oil screen out, you're going to need something with a 6mm Allen head on it. I prefer to use a socket bit. Came out of this Craftsman set here. And of course you've got a drain pan. Now this one here will hold 5 gallons, which is more than adequate. If you've got a drain pan that's got that holds less than 3 gallons, like maybe a gallon or 2, you're going to need more paper towels. Okay, I'm just saying. We have the owner's manual. However, I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. I don't need no stinking manual. But you may want to keep it around and refer to it. You don't have to tell your friends you used it. Alright, so we're going to back the tractor in. Now I like to use these ramps homemade ramps here. It just gives me extra room to crawl around under it, just because I'm that kind of guy. Oh, real important, jack stands. If you're going to have the wheel off, you got to have some jack stands, unless you like living real dangerously. I wouldn't recommend it. And I use a floor jack here so I can lift it up, put the jack stand under one side. And I guess that's about it. So let's get started. Okay, I'm getting ready to take the rear tire off, left rear, and the reason I'm going to do that, and the manual does recommend that you do that for easier access. But anyways, the reason they tell you to do that is because of this. See if you can see it under here. Is this? This is right there. That's the filter screen, and you've got to take those clamps off and push that hose up, and there's a that 6mm nut is right there where my finger's wiggling, and that has to come out. And when you pull that screen out and everything, it just makes it easier to get to that. That's why. Now it can be done, because there's a video on the internet from a popular guy, and it shows him doing it without taking the wheel off, because he had wheel weights and his tires were loaded, and he didn't want to do it. To him, it was harder to take the heavy tire off than it was just to leave it on. I don't have loaded tires, so I'm taking mine off for ease of access. Now, the reason I've got it up on these ramps, just so I can get up under there. The pan is tall, and it'll fit up under there better. And I raised up the front some so the tractor would be a little more level. And because I don't want to get squished or have the thing roll off or anything like that, when you jack the back up to get the tire off, because the tractor's so narrow that even when you get over as close as you can here to lift it up, that side gets light. And if you don't know, the brakes, it has a transmission brake. There's your brake pedal, of course, and you can lock the brake, but that doesn't do anything to the front wheels. It only locks up the rear. You have no braking on the front unless you put it in four-wheel drive. If you put it in four-wheel drive, then you'll have brakes, as well on the front tires. It just, an extra bit of safety there. And because I'm really nuts, I even put a deal there. Anyways, let's take the tire off. Okay, got the wheel off. It's up on a jack stand. I've got my pan ready, and because this is an extremely low budget production, there is no cameraman. There's only some old guy with a GoPro, so I apologize if some of this you can't really see. So some of it you just have to use your imagination on. Anyhow, the first thing we're going to do is take the drain plug out and let the oil, hydraulic oil that is, drain out. The plug is over on the back right side. I don't know if you can see it. There's my finger pointing at it right there. It's a 13mm. So get your socket ready and let's see if we can take it off. Okay, let's see what we can do to it. Alright. Wasn't too tight, wasn't real loose, but it wasn't too tight either. Hopefully we got it lined up. Now, the book didn't say you had to, but I took the spout off, you know, maybe to help it drain a little easier and quicker. There we go. We have flow. There she blows. Alright, you probably don't want to sit there for half an hour and watch it drip, unless you're the kind of guy that likes to watch paint dry or grass grow. But and I'm not going to insert music and speed it up like a music video either, because I don't dig that. So I'll be back. Okay, while that's draining, I'd just like to point out a couple other things. If you've taken your tire off and you're looking all up in here and everything, now's a good time to do a really good inspection. Check for loose hardware, missing cotter pins that might have fallen off. Check out your mower deck linkage here if you've got a mower deck. And by the way, if you can do this with your mower deck on, you're better than I am. So check for, you know, missing hardware. Now's a good time to lubricate, you know, because there's a zerk sticking right out in wide open spaces. Go grab your grease gun. Grease them up while you're at it. And also, just changing your transmission fluid isn't the only thing that they want you to do on your 50-hour service. I mean, don't forget, it wants you to check your tire pressure. It wants you to check the front axle oil level, because you know, this doesn't change the hydraulic fluid in your axle. That's a separate deal. Although it doesn't have you change the front axle until you're pretty well out there. Let's see. Oh, like every 600 hours or something. I mean, it's on out there. And it also, yeah, well, I just said clean the battery, lubricate all grease points, you know, what I just we're talking about. All right, there you go. Also, the changing your engine oil is not necessarily part of the 50-hour too. Now that's a point of contention that's debated among owners, because the book doesn't have you changing it until you hit 200 hours. Now it doesn't even say that for under the annually. Under annually it says check radiator coolant, fins, replace fuel filters, check air filters under annually. But you know, it could take a while to get 200 hours on your machine. You know, it could take several years if you don't use it much. And it's, you know, owners that like to do their own service, that boggles their mind. You just don't let something, oil in your engine not get changed for years. I mean, that just blows their mind. So that's up to each individual owner, if they're going to wait to 200 hours or if they're going to, do it at 50 or, whatever like that, And the reason I mention that is because there's a big debate amongst owners whether or not it comes with break-in oil in the engine from the factory, and if you don't have enough hours, your engine's not broken in all the way because it's using break-in oil possibly, and if you change it now, you've got to put break-in oil back in it. That's a big debate, and nobody has really got a definitive documented answer for that. But today I'm not changing the oil. I figure I'm going to split the difference and change it somewheres when it's getting to be either the end of the season or I'm hitting around 100 hours or something. I haven't made up my mind. So looks like we're still draining a little bit. I usually like to wait when I'm changing car oil or whatever like that. I'll wait till it starts making individual droplets, and then I'll call it good and put the plug back in. So see you later. Okay, so it's down to a drip, so I'm going to call that good and put the plug back in. Okay, now need to tighten it up. Now, one thing, I'm glad that I got a 5-gallon pan here because look how full that is, and I got enough extra space there for slosh. When I'm pulling it out, you don't have to worry about it sloshing out and so forth. So I'm going to tighten up the drain plug. First I'm going to pull this pan out of the way. Next up on Crazy Men with Tools, we're either going to do the filter or we could pull the suction screen off. The book really doesn't tell you what order to do that in or if it even makes a difference. I don't see where it makes a whole lot of difference. The suction filter looks like it's going to be the hardest, unless of course this oil filter up here is on so tight that you'd have to be Hulk Hogan's gorilla to get it off. But I'm going to make an attempt here. And because the end of the filter doesn't have any edges on it, those ones with the end cap types don't look like it's going to work. Nothing for it to grab to. And most of my other wrenches are too big. They won't go down to that smaller diameter because they're made for old style big ones on cars. So really the only one I've got to work with right now is this strap wrench. And I've wiped it down, get all the oil off, and I've wiped the filter to get all the dirt and oil off to make it as grippy as possible. And we'll see if we can do something with that. And sorry about the bad camera work, but like I said, low budget. What can I say? Probably won't be able to really see either. This doesn't involve going to the store and getting a different one. Not looking good so far, because this drive shaft for the mower deck is kind of in the way. Yeah, this ain't looking good, folks. This ain't looking good. Yeah, it ain't looking good. Well, that sucker's on. Well, ain't that just special? Well, I gotta abort and rethink. Okay, I'm back. I got the transmission oil filter off. It is pretty mangled up because that sucker was on there some kind of tight. See how it's all squished, and went and got one of these type of wrenches, and even it, there's, you know, when you've got it on there like that, you almost don't have enough room between the oil filter and the transmission case, and in fact I had to kind of turn it around the other direction because that's a little skinnier. But anyways, man, that sucker was on there tight. But I got it off. And of course, as always, you oil up the ring. Now the manual says to put between a third and half full of oil before you put it on. So I guess they want it to be a little bit, have some in there. Get some on the ring here. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm gonna pour a little in there. This is the same high guard. This is just a smaller jug of it that I got. Oops, missed it. Of course, you don't want to put too much in there or it'll run out while you're trying to get it on. And you want to, I don't know if you're going to see anything anyway. But I always like to clean around where the oil filter is going to mount. Make sure it's got a bunch of dirt or anything on it. Looks good. And I'll screw the new one in place here. I'm sure you can't see anything except probably my head or the back of my hand or something. Don't cross thread it. There we go. Got a lot of threads on there. Let's see if we can tighten it here. Get it hand tight. Yeah, that's as tight as I can get it with my hand, which should be about right. All right, now. I hope the next part isn't that hard, but I bet it will be. All right. Sorry about the camera shaking. We gotta get the oil suction filter out. There's the hose right there. You can see it's got two springy type clamps on it, and you've got to slide that piece of rubber hose up and out of the way up on that tubing, and that ain't gonna be easy. And then you got this bracket here that's gonna be in the way, and this got paint on it and everything, so that's gonna make it stick. And there, I don't see any way that I'm gonna be able to show this and hold the camera at the same time. There's no way. So I'm gonna try to get that off, and then I'll show you the end result. Sorry. Alright, got the two clamps off. Got them at the top of the thing. Now this rubber hose has got to slide up and off the other piece down there of the suction pipe thing, stuff, whatever. Alright, let me push up on that. Okay, I've got the hose pushed almost all the way up. They're never easy to get off. Fuel lines and hoses there, man, they grip like crazy. I've always had trouble with stuff like that. But anyways, this is a 6mm hex head bolt. Now, a lot of times they'll have paint, you know, from the factory around it, and you want to make sure that your driver goes all the way in and to the bottom. Now I've already tapped on it and got it to, it wouldn't go in by hand when I first tried it. There was that much you know, paint crusted up around the head. So I got it and I lightly tapped it. You want to make sure it bottoms out so you got a good grip, because you don't want to round that thing out. And so now this is the part where it comes in handy having the wheel off. Otherwise you got to get this in from behind, and by the time you get a socket or something on there, there's no room for the wrench on there. So I wanted to do it the easier way, and this was easier for me. So alright, so let's see if we can get it off. There we go. Wasn't very tight. Book says to tighten it up to something like 21 foot-pounds when you put it back on. You don't want to over tighten it, because that's an aluminum transmission case. You don't want to screw that thing up. So now I don't know. Guess I better put some towels underneath, because there might be some drippage. And I don't think that drain pan's gonna fit up under there. Ain't enough room. Now I hope I got the tubing far enough off. We'll see. And when you take that thing out, there's a rectangular shaped magnet inside that screen. You don't want to drop that on the floor or it's going to break. So I've never done it before, but I've seen it done in video. So you don't want to, I mean, it's not the end of the world if you break it. You can still put the pieces back in there, but I prefer not to break it if I can help it, because it does appear to be brittle. Here's the bolt. Let's see if we can pull it out. And it's probably all stuck with paint and everything. So, let me see if I can get it from another angle here. Oh, there it comes. There it comes. I may have to go up higher with the tubing, but we'll see if it'll slip out like it is. Oh, all right. Here's this piece. Okay, you can see there's an O-ring around there. You don't want that damaged, so be careful with that. Now let's reach in there and see if we can retrieve the screen. Careful with it. Don't want to break or lose nothing. I think I can feel the magnet in there. Now I'm going to move this over to another spot, and then we'll take a look at it. Okay, now that actually looks pretty darn clean from pictures I've seen of other screens that people posted. Often it's got a lot more debris than that, and chunks of rubber and sealant and all kind of stuff people fish out of there. So I'm happy with that. That looks pretty darn good. So if I can get the camera set up here without the damn thing falling over, we'll take the magnet out. Now the magnet is in the end here. Right here on the end. You want to make sure you put this back in first, because this is the outside here. Here's the magnet. There we go. There's the magnet. Ooh, sticks right to the table there. Alright, now we're going to get this cleaned up, and we'll be ready to put it back in. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it. I put this magnet into the transmission there to see, if I could get any filing. It's got a little bit of stuff on there. Not much. Not too bad. I'll do that a couple more times till I don't see any more junk on there. That's not very much. Situation normal. Okay, got the screen all cleaned up, let it dry. It's all nice and dry. I wiped the magnet down. Got all kind of black looking, poly looking stuff on it. Now let's put it back in. Push it down on in there. Don't push it so far that you'll never get it out again on the next go around. And about 1/4 of an inch or something's probably good. Alright, now we can go over and put it back in. Okie dokie. Let me reposition the camera so you might be able to see something. Or not. I don't know if you can see, but there you go. Now don't forget, the closed end goes in first, or you're really going to have it plugged up. Alright. There we go. Now wait a minute now, let's see. I'm thinking we might need to put it on the end here. like that. Maybe that's a better idea, huh? Maybe that's how it's supposed to work. Guess I should have watched the other videos closer, huh? Alright. Now comes the hard part, getting that dang tube bag on there. May have to push it up some more. Gonna have to push it up some more, I think. Be back again. Okay, I've got the that hose. I don't know if you can see that. It's way up under there. I don't know. Anyways, put it in there. Okay, feed it all the way. There's gonna line up with the hose there. Probably want to get it started with the hose before you put the bolt in there, because you might need to wiggle it around. And so let's see if we can get it on there. Easier said than done, of course. I'm going to spray just a little bit of silicone just right around there. Might help it slide on if I'm lucky. Let's see, I need to get on the other side with a pair of pliers and rotate it down until it's all the way seated. This could take all day. I'm sure you don't want to see this either. But you get the idea. You got to work that hose all the way down until it's bottomed out. Alright. Got it back together. Tighten the bolt down. The bolt calls for 21 foot-pounds, which is the very lowest my torque wrench will go to 20. So I did it. Tightened it up with the torque wrench. Got the spring clamps back on there. That wasn't no fun, but I did it. You just got to keep at it. And that's complete. Now all we got to do is fill it up with juice. All right. Little Johnny's thirsty. He needs some oils. Alright, let's see if I can hit it without spilling it. Yeah. Harder than it looks. That's coming out too fast. Slow down. I gotta find a different way to do this. It didn't work out too good. Spilt some. So come in from the other direction. You get the idea. Takes 3 1/4 gallons. What I'm going to do is put in 3 gallons, let it sit for a while, crank it up, and then sneak up on it a little at a time until it's full on the dipstick. May have to sit a while for it to drain and settle in, but you get the idea. Okay, I'm all done. I put 3 1/4 gallons in it, and of course got to run it for a minute and then recheck it tomorrow or so, and keep checking the fluid and sneak up on the complete full line, because I don't want to overfill. So let's see if it'll crank up. See if I screwed anything up. Well, sounds good. Let's check to see if anything's leaking. I don't see nothing pouring out. Won't know if any slow leaks are going on till it I clean the floor up and it sits overnight. Let's see if it'll move, because if it won't move, I screwed up. Here it goes. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, maybe I showed you something. Maybe it helped somebody. I don't know. If you didn't mind watching an old guy like the Three Stooges with two Stooges missing, then maybe you liked it. I don't know. If you can always leave a comment, and which one of the two Three Stooges is missing, it's up to you. I mean, you can make a comment, see which two Stooges you think are missing. So anyway.